up here doing all the work are parasophic punches. It's a pretty rare breed. There's about 2,500 of them in the world right now. We have Laura, the horse on the right, and Punch, the one on the left. Going through our kids' barn here, or by our kids' barn. And then on the other side here on your left is the International Museum of the Horse. That is the only museum in the world that is dedicated to all different breeds of horses and all different disciplines of riding and driving. It's a Smithsonian affiliate, so there's a lot of very good exhibits in there. Undergoing a pretty major renovation project right now, so not all of it is open, but a good portion of it is. And, you can spend 30 minutes or 3 hours, however much time you want to take and read and look. And one of our more popular statues coming up here on our left, that is Sergeant Reckless. She was purchased by the U.S. Marines during the Korean War, and she was trained to take that ammunition up to the top of the mountain. She was shown how to do that one time, and then made multiple unassisted trips night after night for the duration of her career, really. After the war, she was retired and brought back to Camp Pendleton, California. She retained her rank of Staff Sergeant and had also earned 2 Purple Hearts. It's our tack shop in there. There's some different kinds of harnesses. If you look real close, it's hard to see right now. There's a bull up on the weather vane instead of a horse. That was an advertising technique that was introduced by Kentucky, actually, to signify that your establishment used genuine cowhide leather. It's coming up on the back side of the breed's barn. They'll have a show at 11 and again at 2. They have horses with origins from all over the world. They will dress those horses and rider up in costume native to that horse's country of origin for what it's most known for. It's all set to music. There's some narration that go along with it. And then afterwards, they pull them up for a little meet and greet, weather permitting. As we round this corner, you'll see a little cemetery up here on your right. That is a horse cemetery, and that was left to us by Walnut Hall Stud. That is the farm that owned this property prior to the state buying it in 1972, and then opening as the Kentucky Horse Park in 1978. So they did leave us quite a few things other than cemeteries. This big barn, that's original to the property. That is one of the largest wooden barns in North America. That's where you find Punch and Laura hanging out, as well as 12 other draft horses in there. Even we've got Mama and Baby in there today. That foal doesn't have a name. Let's start with E. So, he's about, let's see, when was he born? He's almost 6 months now. So, and he's a big kid. So. Then as we look ahead, we have barns 1 through 4. We actually have 24 of these barns on the property, and that's temporary stabling. That's for horses that come in for competitions. It is not uncommon for us to have, 5 different horse shows running at the same time. We can handle 1,200 horses on any given night. Sometimes that's not enough. We will have to put up temporary stabling just to accommodate all of the horses. Right now it is the split rock jumping series going on. That's what most of these are here for. So these guys are going to be in probably 3 weeks, taking in, there's like 3 different shows that run bang, bang, bang. And as we work our way up this hill, you'll notice this double fence. That's pretty common around this part of the country, especially along roadways, along stallion paddocks. The stallions can be very territorial. They'll fight over a single fence. Give them that little 8 to 10 foot buffer. They're not too concerned about the neighbor at that point. They just kind of go about their day. Around roadways or along roadways, it's just an extra barrier protection. In case a car goes through or a tree falls, good chance it will only go through one of the fences. And if you look, even the posts are staggered. So if the car does go through, hopefully that driver's awake by the time he gets to fence number 2. It's our Hall Champions. They will have a show at 10:30, 1:15, and then their Derby nightcap at 3:30, I believe. Yep. Every horse in that barn is a retired millionaire. Wow. They've all won well over $1 million in their race careers. There's standard breds and thoroughbreds in there. There's 2 Triple Crown winners in there. They are standard breds, however. That Triple Crown is just as hard to win, just probably not as popular as what most people know know, the Triple Crown has. But they'll bring those horses out, or whoever's on deck today, 2 or 3 usually. They bring them out to the pavilion. They'll show some video highlights of some of their greatest races and pose them for some pictures afterwards. And then if you talk real nice, they're usually good about letting you rub on some noses over there. Way off in the distance, you'll see those stadium lights. That is Rolex Stadium, and that was built as the main stadium for the 2010 World Equestrian Games. Horse Olympics, basically, is what that is. 2010 was the first time those games ever took place outside of Europe. Also the first time all the events took place on one plot of land. So once those horses got here from wherever in the world they came from, they didn't have to leave the horse park to get to their event. It was all right here. Now that stadium hosts Grand Prix jumping events, one of the major saddlebred shows takes place in there. A lot of different things. We just wrapped up the Defender 3-day event. That is one of the toughest events in the world at eventing. If you're not familiar, that's one rider, one horse, 3 different disciplines. You have dressage, which at that level is like ballet on horseback. You have cross-country jumping, where they're out on a 2-mile course jumping logs and bushes and things that don't move if you run into them. And then the final day is where they're jumping rails, or the jumps most people are familiar with, where it's your speed. That happened about 3 weeks ago now, 2 weeks ago. That's a 5-star event. That's as tough as it gets. It's one of 2 in North America. The Olympics has eventing. It's only rated at 4 stars. It just allows more countries to compete. So that's how big a thing that was. 30,000 people through the gates that week, so it's a big deal for us. Covered Arena is one of the oldest show venues we have. That's hosted everything from horse shows, tractor pulls, circuses. Probably most famous for hosting Briarfest. That's the resin model horses, very detailed. That usually happens the hottest weekend in July. And again, we'll have 20,000 people taking that in. Then directly ahead of us is...
All right, walk on.
Slew of kids. Directly ahead of us is our mounted police barn. We do have a police presence on the park 24/7. But a little over 1,200 acres here. Just a lot more easily accessed on horseback, some of it. So it's not uncommon to see them saddled up, riding around, just kind of making sure everything's where it should be. The horses in that barn are all badged officers, so when they're out on patrol, they're wearing a badge, much like a police dog would. You're welcome to go into that barn, visit the officers, both equine and human, and you're invited into all the barns.